Hi everyone. This is a true story, and it is about an event that happened when I was returning from open mic in May, back home. The story is condensed. The Q train arrived in Union Square. I stepped in and walked to an empty seat. The moment I sat, I spotted a nice-looking gentleman in his 40s right across from me, wearing a typical Manhattan man outfit. Dark gray overcoat, black turtleneck pants, and a pair of nice shoes. He made an instant eye contact with me and smiled. I smiled back. Then I turned my head the other way. 10 seconds later, I looked at him again. He was still looking at me, smiling. I smiled back. Then I lowered my head as I could feel that I started blushing. 15 seconds later, I raised my head again. More eye contact and a smile. The train made a stop at 34th Street and we were still looking at each other. I felt strangely comfortable with this discomfort. I sensed the tingling vibration in my chest, not being sure if I wanted him to exit at the next stop in Times Square or if I wanted this ride to last for hours. Soon we were at 42nd Street and the door opened, but he was still glued in his seat. I raised my head again and he looked at me with a warm glow in his eyes and a lovely smile. I lowered my head again, pretending that I had something important to look at on my phone. We were approaching 57th Street Station. The doors opened and closed again, and the trip continued. It was now evident that the mysterious stranger was heading to the Upper East Side where I live. I started wondering what he was like. He radiated sophistication with his classy style and appearance. There was a worldly mindset hiding behind his brown eyes, I could tell. I know this type. I have had this type in my life. I've been searching for this type. This is my type. Not my type based on what is currently available in the New York City dating market, but my real type. The kind of man who brings you flowers when he takes you out to try and explore something new, who shows up at your door with a box of fine Belgian chocolates, who is protective, makes you comfortable in your vulnerability, celebrates your success, and who is truly happy when he sees you smile. He did not exit at 63rd and Lexington, nor 72nd and 2nd Avenue. I was one stop away from home and becoming anxious. I did not know what to do if he exited the subway at the same station. Before the train made a complete stop at 86th Street, I looked at him once again and stood up. He smiled and did the same. I was tipsy and tired and overwhelmed by unexpected strange shyness which would make any conversation with this man potentially awkward, so I just decided to run. Regardless of my other temporary insecurities, I was confident enough as a runner that I did not have a problem running tipsy in high heels that night. The door opened and I rushed out furiously towards the 83rd Street exit, passing by a mini escalator between the platform and mezzanine levels, opting to walk quickly up the stairs instead of choosing a slow escalator ride and potentially exposing myself to a strange encounter. I could not tell if I was running because I panicked or because I like to be chased. The entire time I was walking, I felt that somebody was right behind me, but I did not stop and did not look back. Then I stormed through a subway turnstile and stepped on the long escalator that connects the mezzanine to the street level. 3 seconds later, I heard someone whispering behind my back. "I could not stop looking at your pretty eyes," the voice said. He had an accent. I knew from the moment I glanced at him at the Union Square subway station that he was European. Finally, I turned. The mysterious stranger was standing on the step right behind me on the escalator. "Russian?" I asked. "French," he responded. "Of course," I added. "I visited Paris last fall. You do indeed like to flirt." He smiled and asked how I knew that he was from Europe. "The personal space thing," I responded. "You're standing right behind me. You did not leave an empty stare between us." He laughed at what I said. "And where are you from?" The gentleman was curious. "Serbia," I answered. "I've been to Belgrade a few times, but I don't remember seeing any redheads," he said. "You're currently looking at a limited edition European woman," I responded and smiled. The escalator ride ended and we exited the station. In a short conversation, I learned that he was returning home from a friend's birthday party in Lower Manhattan. "I live right around the corner," he said. "Where?" I asked. "On 83rd Street," he responded. "I'm on 84th," I said. 2 minutes later, I was still in front of the subway station on 2nd Avenue, chatting with him. We were looking at each other continuously. It was almost hypnotic. The connection and chemistry were amazing, although I was initially anxious about having an interaction with him. Outside of the train car, I felt quite pleasant talking to him. This is when I knew I was with a gentleman. I could not take my eyes off him. He could not take his eyes off me. It has been ages since a man made me feel this way. The rest is in my book that I'm publishing at the end of the summer. Thank you.